So Charles Oliveira finishes Justin Gaethje in the first round by rear naked choke, and immediately afterwards the questions begin to flow. Who is Charles Oliveira going to be taking on next? If it's Islam Makhachev, can Charles Oliveira defeat Islam Makhachev? And then one further, can Charles Oliveira defeat Khabib Nurmagomedov? And who would win in that hypothetical matchup? I'm going to try and go through all of these questions right now. First of all, let's get it out of the way. We know Islam Makhachev is going to be next. We just had word that Conor McGregor is going to be looking to return earliest November this year, which is a crazy long time away, and I don't want to see Charles Oliveira wait that long before he gets back in there. He's in his prime right now. I'd like to see him make his next defense against Islam Makhachev, and if that does happen, he'll beat Islam Makhachev and he'll beat Khabib Nurmagomedov if Khabib chooses to come back. Now, there is a little bit of a difference to this argument if it's when Khabib was still reigning as a champion, and if he would have kept going as a champ and eventually defended against Charles Oliveira after defeating Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje himself. That is a different equation. However, the question right now is, if Khabib came back and took on Charles Oliveira, who would win? Charles Oliveira would win. I truly believe so. He is a nightmare matchup for Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's got amazing jiu-jitsu. He does not fear being taken to the ground, and that gives him an invincibility and an absolute crazy mindset on the feet against Khabib that no other striker in MMA has had. Every other striker that Khabib has taken on in his entire career has been worried at some point that they will be taken to the ground, and it changes the way they strike completely. Charles Oliveira does not have this worry. And he's already taken out top strikers like Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, who I personally believed were nightmare matchups for him. I think they are tougher matchups for him than strong grapplers in the lightweight division. I think strong grapplers that are going to go to the ground with Charles Oliveira, welcome to his world. When you've got a guy like Charles Oliveira who hasn't got the best wrestling in MMA, let's be real, his jiu-jitsu is really good. However, his offensive grappling is not the best. He's not going to be able to blast double leg every single opponent and keep them on the ground and get them on the ground non-stop. He has trouble getting opponents to the ground in the first place. So now he's figured out he has to either knock them down and choke them out like Justin Gaethje, or he has to let them against him on the ground, which usually fighters do. He beats them up on the feet, they shoot a bad takedown, he latches up a guillotine like he did against Kevin Lee, or gets a dash choke as well. Charles Oliveira is rapidly improving his stand-up, his conditioning, his mentality. The power in his hands has massively risen as he's gone forward in his career. His confidence on his feet, his grappling as well, it seems like it's just like a method of just like, oh, you're on the ground, time to get submitted by Charles Oliveira. I feel as though he would beat Khabib Nurmagomedov right now if Khabib came back. No question in my mind. Charles Oliveira is in his prime right now. He's defending against the best lightweights in the world that are terrible style matchups for him. Justin Gaethje is a terrible style matchup for him, and he had a terrible build up to that fight with everything that went down. He's still hungry. He's the number one guy in the division. He still isn't even considered a champion by the promotion. He's still looking to get his belt back, so the hunger is not going to stop here. I think he beats Islam Makhachev, and I think he beats Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I think he just terminates them on the feet beforehand, and then they shoot a panicked takedown and end up in a really bad situation, as they did in certain moments against Dustin Poirier. Khabib Nurmagomedov was under some kind of pressure. He shot a panicked, not so good takedown, ended up in a really bad guillotine. I'll tell you this right now. If Oliveira has that guillotine on Khabib, it's over. Dustin Poirier has guillotined, I feel like, once every other fight in his entire career. It's his go-to move to defend a takedown. Jump the guillotine. If Oliveira gets that same guillotine, Khabib's tapping or going to sleep. It's a different kind of guillotine that Oliveira can get on you compared to a guy like Dustin Poirier, who's not really a submission guy himself. I can't remember the last time he got a submission outside of maybe a Max Holloway win or like a body triangle finish against Anthony Pettis at one point, if you remember. He had a body triangle on Anthony Pettis and Pettis broke his rib in that fight. I really do believe that Dustin Poirier, in that position, if he is replaced by Charles Oliveira, it's over for Khabib. And you're talking about a Khabib now who's been out for a very long time. He's been out on the sidelines. He's looking like a heavyweight, let's be real. He's looking like a heavyweight, out on the sidelines, not in shape, not training. if you're genuinely asking me the question, if Charles Oliveira beats Islam Makhachev, and Khabib has said this before, if someone beats Islam Makhachev, I'll consider coming back into MMA. I think he actually said that he will come back if someone beats Islam Makhachev. Now, I personally believe this is a move to bait people into taking the matchup with Makhachev, knowing that a big Khabib matchup could be on the horizon afterwards if they were successful. And I think that's sort of like a bait to get people to want to take the matchup with Makhachev, because not many people really want to as their plan A of a career. I mean, Michael Chandler is terrified to say Makhachev's name, in all honesty. He'll mention every other name at lightweight, not Islam Makhachev for an opponent. But either way, Oliveira will beat Makhachev, and if Khabib comes back afterwards, he beats Khabib. And let me tell you how he beats Islam Makhachev. He won't fear going to the ground. Makhachev ends up in guillotines as well. Earlier on in his career, he got put in a bunch of guillotines. He escaped them. He toughed them out. He ended up in a dominant position. It's different with Oliveira. It's over. It's in. It's locked up. You're done with Oliveira. There's no fear about being taken down. You're not out there like, oh God, what do I throw? Strikers go out there against Makhachev, and they go out there against Khabib, and they're thinking, right, just straight right hands. Okay, just a little check hook now and again. Keep my feet moving. Don't end up against a cage. Maybe I'll throw a calf kick really low and quick and not very often because he might catch it and take me down. I bet you anything on my life, the first move that Charles Oliveira will throw against an Islam Makhachev or a Khabib Nurmagomedov is a jumping front kick to the face, because he just simply doesn't care. And that is a powerful, powerful tool to have on the feet against those grappling guys that are usually doing better than they arguably should be on the feet against their opponents because of how terrified their opponents are of the takedowns. Oliveira beats him. He really does. I think he's going to go out there against Islam Makhachev in October, Abu Dhabi. Makhachev's been out for a little while. Oliveira's in his prime, 32 years of age. He turns 33 in October, I believe, just before or just after that event in Abu Dhabi. So I feel as though he's in his prime right now. He's active. He's getting better and better. His hunger is not diminished because he isn't even a champion right now. He still has to get that belt back in a vacant title fight coming up soon. I truly believe he will walk down Islam Makhachev, beat him up badly, and then once he's beaten him up a little bit, force a panicked, terrible shot out of Makhachev and latch up a guillotine and finish him off. That's what I think will happen in a Makhachev fight with him and Oliveira. That's my official prediction. I've been pretty good at predicting Oliveira fights. I said something like second or third round standing rear naked choke against Dustin Poirier. I said he'd hurt Gaethje on the feet after being rocked beforehand and finish him off by rear naked choke in the center of the cage, not against a cage, on the ground rear naked choke, not standing rear naked choke. I called it all perfectly. I didn't call his career perfectly beforehand, but now I've seen the light of olives. I know what I'm doing with him. I feel like I know his style. I know what it works against. And I think it works against Makhachev and Khabib. I really think. And I think there's a real difference in the level of your grappling once you've taken a massive Oliveira knee to the body. Once you've taken a big Oliveira punch to the face and your eye is swollen up a little bit and your lips busted a little bit and your nose is tingling and you can taste a bit of blood in your mouth. Your grappling is not going to be as technical and as sound and as patient and calm and calculated as it would be if you took no damage in that fight. I bring you the attention of the person who has had arguably the best performance outside of Arman Tsarukyan early on, who I picked to beat Makhachev in his debut, by the way. People call me crazy for that, but I picked Arman Tsarukyan to beat Makhachev, and he really nearly did. Okay? Great grappler himself. Thiago Moises, similar to Oliveira, but less rangy, less powerful, less dangerous on the feet, and less dangerous on the ground. Did very well against Makhachev. Makhachev won that fight, and he won it clearly, and I think he won every single round. However, compared to other opponents who have been immediately destroyed or controlled for the entire fight and had no success whatsoever, Moises had some moments against Makhachev. And it's because of the jiu-jitsu threat. It's because of not worrying as much while you're on the feet of being taken to the ground. He even had the back of Makhachev at one moment but fell off the top. If Oliveira gets any of those positions, he ain't falling off the top of the back. He's getting the back. He's putting the body triangle in. And he's looking for a rear naked. And I truly believe he'd go across the cage against Makhachev, jumping front kick him immediately in the face. Makhachev would be like, oh God. And Makhachev would be backing up early rather than him having Makhachev push him up against the cage. That's where Dagestanis do their best work. When they push you up against the cage because you're worried about being taken down, and then they can push you against the cage, drag you down, get the Dagestani handcuff, beat you up a little bit, pass into a dominant position. Against Oliveira, they're going to be the ones backing up. They are going to be the ones backing up in that matchup. Makhachev will be backing up immediately. Front kick to the body from Olives. Jab from Olives. Makhachev looks to throw back. Check hook from Olives is there all day. We saw it against Adriano Martins. By the way, a Brazilian, rangy striker with good power in his hands and amazing jiu-jitsu as well. I think the matchup is written in stone. Oliveira beats Makhachev. He'll whoop him up on the feet. Badly. Makhachev, not to mention, has a lot of pressure on him. I know he performed against Bobby Green, but it's Bobby Green. And I like Bobby Green, but it's Bobby Green. Let's be real. He'll go out there in Abu Dhabi. The whole crowd will be cheering his name. He knows Oliveira is the most dangerous matchup for him in the entire lightweight division. The pressure's on him to deliver. Finally, to step out of Khabib's shadow. The entire arena on his side. Everyone that he knows is going to be in the crowd. It's his big moment to finally get the belt that he's been working so hard for. Oliveira is a contender who's been there, done that as a champ without losing. That's a very interesting mindset to be in for a contender. I've been the champ, and now I'm a contender, and I didn't lose either. That's a real weird mindset to be in. It's a very powerful one as well in terms of how you're going to perform on the night. And I truly believe he'd walk down Makhachev, beat him up badly. Makhachev would have a panicked shot and get put in a guillotine just like he got put in a guillotine against Chris Wade, who had him in some danger. And Makhachev shot a bad shot and Wade had him in a guillotine. And Makhachev was gritting down and gurgling in that guillotine because it was a very powerful one. But he's not Oliveira. Oliveira's different. And I think Oliveira would beat him. I really, truly do. Now Makhachev has a great chance. I'm leaning Oliveira in that matchup, and if he does beat Oliveira, Khabib's next, and it's the same matchup. It's the same matchup, except Khabib has a better chin, and he's less rangy. So he's going to be a little bit harder to push backwards, but I still think Oliveira can do it, because the heat in this man's hands, to drop Justin Gaethje, flatten Justin Gaethje with a big power straight right hand right down the pipe. You watch Khabib and Makhachev, they strike in matchups. Makhachev's a little better technically than Khabib. He's less physically dominant than Khabib. Although he is a little bit bigger, if I do say so. I think he's a little bit bigger than Khabib for the lightweight division, which is crazy because they're both the biggest guys we've seen in that division for a very long time. Khabib's going to get pushed backwards against Makhachev. He's going to get taken against a cage. He's going to have to defend, and he's going to shoot bad takedowns. Conor McGregor was able to... Whatever you say about the second round in the Conor McGregor matchup, Khabib was toying with him. He wanted to beat him up. Khabib couldn't pass McGregor's guard in round one. He couldn't... And I hate to give credit to McGregor. Or people hate to give credit to McGregor. He's great at jiu-jitsu. He's got really good takedown defense. People technically don't get him down unless he's got a torn ACL in that fight, like he was against Chad Mendes, and wasn't even training for a grappler anyway. Oliveira is 10 times the grappler that McGregor is. He's got way more threats. He's got way better takedown defense. He's got way better jiu-jitsu from on his back. Khabib loses that matchup. I truly believe so. And maybe not. And here's where the argument changes for me. If Oliveira was coming up and he didn't have that confidence in his hands yet, and he hasn't developed the way he's developed now after these past few performances, and after he beat Tony Ferguson, he went straight into a matchup against Khabib Nurmagomedov, maybe I'd be picking Khabib Nurmagomedov. Maybe I would. But now, the question is, if he beats Makhachev and Khabib comes back, who you got, Khabib or Oliveira? Oliveira. Maybe by KO, maybe by guillotine, maybe by DAS. Oliveira. Oliveira beats him. If he beats Makhachev and Khabib comes back after all that time off and gets back in the cage after being incredibly inactive, and Oliveira's been active, fighting contender after contender, in his prime, ready to go, he will beat Khabib's brakes off and finish him in the first round. Truly believe it. You want to talk to me about, well, if they were both in their prime and Khabib took him on in his next title defense when Oliveira was coming up, you can talk a bit to me about that all you want. That's not the question. Who wins right now? Khabib versus Oliveira. If Khabib has a full training camp and comes back, Oliveira wins. Simple as that. He's the best lightweight on the planet right now. And I truly believe so. Khabib retired a little bit too early, in my opinion. He could have kept going. He could have continued his stomping tour of the lightweight division. He's gone, and the division evolves, and he's now inactive. And I think he'd lose. Not to mention the mental warfare of seeing Oliveira maybe beat Makhachev in the meantime, and how that'd play on his mind. Like, oh God, I train with Makhachev. Makhachev's like close to my level, if not like even to my level, because I'm no longer training and in my prime anymore. And Oliveira just did that to him. And now I've got to come back after 2 years off and get back in the cage. It's not going to work out well. That's my opinion. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.